Hello and welcome to our new exhibition, We Can Do It, Wars Are the Voices, in partnership with Imperial War Museum and with the support of the Art Fund. My name is Odile Masia and I've curated this exhibition, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the objects and stories in the show. The exhibition commemorates last year's 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. The Battle of Britain was a decisive air campaign fought over England during the summer and autumn of 1940. Flying iconic aircraft including the Spitfire and Hawker Hurricane, Royal Air Force pilots fought the Luftwaffe to stop Germany's fascist leader Adolf Hitler from invading the United Kingdom. Crucial civil defence support came from across the country, including Rochdale. Ultimately, the Luftwaffe was defeated. The battle was one of Britain's most important victories of the Second World War, also secured by the many pilots from across occupied Europe and the Commonwealth who fought in it. This show explores how the lives of people in Rochdale changed as a result of a war that was to become the most destructive in history. Particular focus is given to women because of the important role they played, whether it was by undertaking war work, volunteering or providing childcare. Women have a story to tell. So, I'm going to talk now about some of the women featured in the show. Mrs. Leah and her daughter Mrs. Ashworth lived together in Sutton during the Second World War. Mrs. Leah baked cakes and prepared meals in the evening to sell in the corner shop she ran. Her daughter worked at Dunlop Cotton Mill. As shown in this photograph, they also volunteered as air raid precaution wardens. And here we have a photograph of Yvonne, a toddler evacuated from London, looked after by the Leah family. Mother and daughter exemplify the courage shown by many women in wartime. They worked, volunteered and offered a home to an evacuee. And despite hardship, they also donated money to the Spitfire Fighter Fund. Throughout the Second World War, enemy bombs fell on British towns and cities, killing more than 60,000 civilians, blurring the boundaries between the home front and the front line. Women played a vital role in supporting the rest of the country in the fight against fascism. In 1941, Britain, unlike any other country, began conscripting women for war work. Thousands of women in Rochdale undertook roles central to the war effort. Women artists were also commissioned by the government's War Artists Advisory Committee to create artworks as a record of the Second World War. Artists such as Dame Laura Knight and Ethel Gavin depicted women adapting to wartime work. This theme in the paintings mirrored their own position as female workers within the constraints of a male-dominated environment. Out of the 400 artists involved in the scheme, only 52 were women. This work over here, on loan from the Imperial War Museum, is by Aileen Agar. She was one of the few female artists selected for the groundbreaking International Surrealist exhibition in London in 1936. During the Second World War, she worked in a canteen by day and served as a fire watcher by night. She struggled to work as a painter during this period, writing, "How does one communicate with any subtlety when the world is deafened by explosions?" The next section in the exhibition explores Rochdale during the Second World War. The intensive bombing on British cities by German forces shaped the day-to-day lives of people like no other conflict. Reminders of air raid precautions and the need to carry a gas mask at all times became a general way of life. At night, towns, including Rochdale, went under blackout. Food, clothes and fuel were rationed. Large numbers of children were evacuated into safer areas. Jan Falkowski, shown in this photograph on the left, was a pilot with the 315 and 303 Polish fighter squadrons, which operated within the RAF. Falkowski flew one of the Rochdale Spitfires. He was awarded the British Distinguished Flying Cross for his service. In this photograph, we can see Corporal Ernest Dania and Edna Frost. Ernest was employed as a motor mechanic in Rochdale before enlisting in the RAF in 1938 as an aircraft mechanic and flight rigger. A few days after his marriage, Ernest was posted to Canada and based at No. 36 Service Flying Training School. 2 years passed until the couple could reunite. During this time, they wrote letters to each other, barely mentioning the war but describing day-to-day activities such as going to the cinema. The final section in the exhibition explores culture in wartime. Rochdale Art Gallery remained open during the Second World War. Although part of the building was used by the government and the basement turned into an air raid shelter, a series of popular exhibitions, music concerts and events took place here. Around the same time, the War Artists Advisory Committee was organising touring exhibitions that featured high-profile artists. 2 of these exhibitions travelled to Rochdale Art Gallery. The war forced many museums and galleries to evacuate and safely store their collections, yet at the same time it increased their popularity. Manchester, Leeds, Leicester all set attendance records at their cultural venues between 1940 and 1945. Culture continues to play a vital role in society. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it has represented a way for many people to explore new worlds despite the restrictions imposed by lockdowns and self-isolation. I hope that you enjoyed the tour and that you can visit the exhibition before it closes on 18th of September. Thank you.